You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM. Presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
Good talking to you, man.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you. Always excited every time I come across a stupid story. It's like, oh, we got to save this to talk to Dave about. And we got plenty of those to pick from here today. And then we got a bunch of questions from the people. You can always hit us up, too, on the Rock Lines. Text 633-KILO or just go to the contact page on our website. There's a drop-down to email right to myself and Mr. McDivitt. All right, one, I'm going to throw you a curveball because it's a news story this morning. Everyone pissing and moaning over the Mike Tyson fight, the lack of quality. Not only the quality of the fighting, but more importantly, the quality of the broadcast, which was pretty much a fail. I couldn't see anything. It was real blurry for me. It was frustrating, but I didn't pay anything for it because I already have a Netflix. But someone is suing over it because they didn't perform well. So, where's my scratch paper here this morning? All right, so I did the math.
Okay.
So let's say some guy's pissed. It was like about a 4 hour. Did you watch it, by the way, Dave?
You know what I did? I was on the East Coast. I was in meetings, and so at midnight, East Coast time, I'm brushing my teeth, and I realized, the fight's on. I can find out who won. I didn't realize that it wouldn't even start till 10 o'clock Colorado time.
Yeah.
So I put it on my cell phone. I also have a Netflix account, and I'm brushing my teeth, and I prop the phone up on the sink by a tissue box, and I'm watching, the first round, the second round, because I brushed my teeth for a while. I've got clean teeth, and it was flickering in and out. I thought, this is crappy. It's the connection of the hotel. I just assumed it was that. And then after the fourth round, I realized I need to go to bed. I have a life to live. I can't just stay up, till the wee hours of the morning watching this fight. And Tyson didn't, he looked good for the first couple of rounds. I thought that's pretty competitive. In fact, I think he won the first 2 rounds. But then apparently after I turned it off, he just stopped.
Yeah, he just kind of got lethargic. Because I couldn't see it very well because it was so blurry. But then some of these replays, there are people showing clips where you can see where Mike Tyson had kill shots and he pulled up. So now they're saying, well, maybe there was some stipulations and there was no uppercuts thrown, which someone noted yesterday. That's his main go-to in the Tyson arsenal. And so there's a bunch of speculation that the thing was kind of rigged, which I'm not surprised. I went into it very, very skeptical. But so let's say you sue Netflix because they wasted 4 hours of your time and failed to perform. All right. What are you going to get? My theory is this. Netflix, about $25 a month. That means in a 30-day month, the month of November, that breaks down to about 83 cents a day. Per hour, that is 0.0034 cents per hour. So that means you wasted 4 hours, you get 13 cents from Netflix and an apology. And that's all you're going to get legally speaking. Is that about right?
Well, it depends on your argument. What you just said seemed to be in conflict. You said wasting your time, and so you have to use a different calculus for your time value. But if what you're talking about is the amount of money you spent on Netflix for that period of time, then I like your calculation. I think that's...
So, man, so you can say, well, I'm a brain surgeon. I get $5,000 an hour.
Exactly.
Oh, man. See how sneaky the law is, everyone? Sneaky.
Well, what's this guy saying in his lawsuit?
He's just saying that they failed to bring what they promised in regards to the fight being watchable. And not the fact that it was possibly rigged or anything like that. It's all on the technical side of things.
Oh.
He has an account. He can't log on. I'm going to sue you. That's kind of where we're at in the world, though, anyway, right?
It's unfortunate when that stuff happens. I think that the only real momentum is when you get a large class action going, people who are impacted by it. But, I think the value of that for folks is going to be just getting reimbursed for their what they spent to...
As a lawyer,
subscribe to Netflix for a short period of time.
As a lawyer, would you, if someone came to you and said, hey, listen, Mr. McDivitt, I want to sue Netflix over this. Is that something you go, interesting, I think I might be in? You're like, no, this is not going to work out.
No, it's not for me. We wouldn't take that case, but that's not to say that, I don't know all the details, but that's just not how I want to spend my time trying to fight that guy's fight. I think listen, streaming sucks sometimes. It just does. And it's, whether it's my connection at my house or whether it's the feed, but the feed from NBC when I was growing up, when they'd send a satellite feed from a football game up to the sky and it beamed down to me, and sometimes it was pixelated. That stuff happens.
It's the cost of doing business.
Yeah. It is.
Dave McDivitt, our guest here for this hour, McDivittLaw.com. They specialize in personal injury, but we take all kinds of questions here in this segment. We'll get to your questions sent via email and some text stuff in a few. We got a couple more, though, to talk about from the Freak News. Now, one I think has been resolved. The guy rented a car and then clicked the unlimited mileage, paid the extra money for that, and then ran the car up to 25,000 miles or something like that in a month. So he brings it back, and then they try to stick him with a $10,000 bill because it was pretty excessive. He's like, hey, I paid for unlimited miles. And they're like, no, that doesn't matter. It's not unlimited. It was, I believe, Hertz rental car. And they did the math. This guy would have had to drive that car. What was it? It was 16 hours a day at 50 miles an hour on average to rack up those kind of miles. And so they assumed that he was probably giving it to people to use as an Uber or like to deliver food like Grubhub or something like that. Yeah. And he was doing it just to be a jackass on his social media. And I think since then, they have decided not to pursue the $10,000 bill. But where's that set, legally speaking? I mean, unlimited is unlimited unless they have some kind of asterisk underneath that saying unlimited means less than 10,000 miles. That's
right. I mean, you're going to have, it's a contract dispute. You have to look at the terms of the contract. And if you've got a contract that says unlimited, I mean, I think that's dangerous from the rental car company to anytime you put unlimited in, you have then exposure that is as, unlimited. But I mean, that's kind of what it is. And it's not unprecedented to have rental car contracts where they offer unlimited mileage. And they just, they'll say, look, you need to keep it up with service. You need to keep us updated. We need oil changes from time to time if you're planning to do heavy duty driving with this and really try to push the envelope of what's beyond like what you would expect somebody's going on vacation and renting a car for 4 days, because that's what people are doing. They're renting the cars, then they're turning those cars into their Uber business, and so in the car companies, the rental car companies are sophisticated enough to know what they're getting into. So I just think it's perhaps an issue of an overzealous Hertz employee trying to, I don't know. I don't want to be a cynic about it, but are they commission based? Would this guy been able to just say, look, I racked up, I was able to ding a guy for $10,000 today, so I get my cut of that. Who knows?
Man, right. You always follow in any story. Always follow the money, or see where the money could be going, and that's usually the rest of the story right there. That does make sense. Who knows? Maybe, you said the guy's being a jackass, like the TikTok guy. Yeah, well, just wanted to prove a point. Say, hey, you guys have unlimited mileage? Really? Watch this. And then,
he's fine. If they want to do it, like I said, it's your exposure. Yeah. You do it.
Now, I guarantee this, though, shortly after this news story broke, the lawyers at Hertz were rewriting the contract for unlimited mileage vehicles. Is that correct, probably? They were probably looking to see if there's kind of anything in there that could that needed to be cleaned up. But they are affirmatively writing contracts allowing for unlimited. Other car companies are. I just haven't looked at all, but I know Enterprise, for example, I believe they have an unlimited package. How about you and me? Into it? You and me, social media challenge. We go rent a car and we drive it 30,000 miles in a month. Like you and me just do some kind of crazy road trip. We'll put it online. What do you say? Yeah. The dumb guy and the lawyer road trip.
When did you get a law degree?
Thanks a lot. That was very nice.
You're welcome. You like that?
All right. And then one more from the Freak News, and this one was fairly astonishing. And I thought it was probably racism. And then I saw pictures of this lady and her kid, and it's not a racist thing. It's just back-ass words, Georgia. Rural Georgia. A mother was literally arrested, cuffed. And there's footage of the police cam out there of her. Turn around, cuff her, take her to the car because her 10-year-old kid, who's now 11, so he's 10 plus, walked a mile into town by himself. And she may be facing, jail time, a hefty fine.
$1,000, I think.
Yeah. How is that even possible? I mean, I understand, 2-year-old toddlers staggering down the middle of the road like Pet Cemetery or something like that. That's awful. But how does this even happen? With a 10-year-old kid, 11-year-old kid, a mile walk into town, turn into an arrest of a mother and being accused now of being a bad mom.
I think the devil's in the details. Yeah, the devil did go down to Georgia.
Yeah, he was born there. Still resides there, I'm told.
Yeah. This is tricky. I mean, this gets to something like in Colorado, for example. The laws aren't very clear in some sense, and in some sense they're intentionally not on the books as to what, how much freedom a 10-year-old can have. Leaving your kids home alone, for example. There's this kind of rule of thumb, like at 12, for example. In Colorado, we have labor laws that say, a 12-year-old is the minimum age to be allowed to, babysit formally, for example. So a lot of people look at 12 as kind of the reasonable age where you can leave somebody at home alone. Other guidelines say, 10. Usually, that kind of 10 becomes that threshold of, all right, we're really looking to allow a child to have some more independence, but it's child specific, for example. In Georgia, they've charged her with a particular law based on recklessness, I believe. And I don't know all of the details of that law and what their child labor laws are, because you have to look at some of these guidelines. If absent any kind of a law that says you can't leave a child home alone at a certain age, or absent a law saying you can't allow a child to walk into town by themselves, you have to look at these things that kind of provide the general guideline of what's reasonable, because that's what the charge is. It's like it's something unreasonable given the facts and circumstances. And I looked into this a little bit, and for the people who are listening who don't know this, it sounds like it's a family. She's a single mom. She's got several kids. She homeschools her kids, and she's adopted a free-range perspective on parenting.
Yeah, well, that's what we talked to when the story was out a couple of weeks ago. We talked about how, man, when I was a kid, my parents were like, my mom was like, you don't come home till the sun sets.
I want to see you.
Go away, stay away all day, come back when it gets dark for dinner. That was basically it, and that was not a problem. And then you go to the generation after me, the latchkey kids that didn't have parents at home because they were probably both working, so they'd come home alone, Yep. And be home till 6 o'clock by themselves, or sometimes even later. So, and that was like we said earlier, that was just a cost of doing business back then.
Ross, this resonates with me because my son is 10. He's going to be 11 in a few months. Okay, my daughter is 12.
Very interesting. All right, because see, I'm out of my league here because I don't have kids or anything, so I'm not exactly sure how 10 years old where you're at. Would you allow your child to walk a mile somewhere at 10 years old?
No, because I'm a different kind of person. I'm a personal injury lawyer. My dad is a personal injury lawyer. I have grown up seeing all the crazy crap that can happen to people, all the ways that people drive. And so
dude, you like post-traumatic stress.
I do. I'm on the opposite end of the spectrum, where I'm very cautious. I live a block from a really big park in Denver, and I've been very anxious about letting my children walk alone to the park and be alone in the park. But my daughter's getting to that age now where she could babysit, for example. Like there are things she needs some more independence, and I'm having to learn to let go. I'm the opposite of the woman in Georgia who's like, look, go walk into town. You're bored. It's fine. Now, in fairness to her, she wasn't home when he did it. He didn't tell her he was doing this. She left him home alone. And the question then is was it okay to do that? It sounds like that was probably reasonable. The kid seemed like a mature kid.
Yeah,
he knew what he was doing. And my son is mature, but he's got some immature elements, and that's why I wouldn't leave him alone. And by the way, he doesn't want to be left alone. My son doesn't. And so the law gives a lot of discretion to parents. And what the law doesn't want to do is oftentimes get inside your home and tell you how to parent your children. We give guidelines, but we're generally not trying to parent. So this is just one of those situations where, yes, I'm kind of on the, like, who does that kind of thing, but I don't think I want the mom charged with this at all. I think
I was just stunned that something like that would happen in this country. I know Georgia is not exactly spokesperson for the United States of America, but it's just like, wow, how is that not? And I didn't see that thing flash across any of the top news stories or anything in the national news stuff. That's kind of a big deal.
Roz, you're outraged that she was arrested. Is that right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I am too. I think that's excessive. I mean, I think listen, sometimes they have a welfare officer come in, or like we have different names for it. I mean, the Department of Health and Human Services, for example, might send somebody just check on things. Like there's been a report,
ask questions.
Yeah.
But just cuff her in front. But in this day and age, I guess she's lucky she didn't get gunned down while cuffed on her front porch.
You know what's more damaging to a child is seeing your parent arrested.
Yeah, and that's what happened in front of the kids, in front of all her kids. She was just dragged away in the cop car.
You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM. Presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
You got any movies stands out that makes you cry? I'd mentioned Sling Blade, The Green Mile. Oh, man, that makes me bawl every single time. I'm tired, boss. It's like, oh, God.
Not brought up Braveheart?
Dude, Braveheart was on the list, yeah. Yeah, that's a tough one, right? Oh, man.
It's got to be up there. That's got to be up there.
Any movie where a dog dies.
Yeah, that's tough.
That is tough.
I'm avoiding any movie where we're talking about like a family member dying, like that stuff. I really struggle with that. But I remember Minority Report? I'm trying to remember. Tom Cruise had this video or audio footage of his family.
I think it was. He was like reliving his kid talking to him, Daddy, I miss you, Daddy.
Yeah, that. All right,
I cry at every Tom Cruise movie because I realize I'm at a Tom Cruise movie.
So
am I doing this to myself? Why do you hate yourself, Ross? I tell myself all the time. There's some weird ones in there too. Someone said old school. It's like, what? Old school?
Really?
But then they're like, oh, when Blue dies. It's like, oh man, that was sad, kind of.
Did I tell you one time?
Blue? What?
I went out with Blue's granddaughter. It wasn't a date. I was with a group and we were all drinking at a bar. And she's like, yeah, that actor Blue is my grandpa.
Dude, how cool is that?
No, it's awesome.
That is an awesome drop. That gets you a free beer every single time. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
You guys ever see Old School? Yeah. My granddad was Blue.
Yeah.
No way.
Really cool.
You're my boy, Blue.
I know.
You're my boy.
Neat. Yeah.
All right, enough of the tear jerking. What else did I want to talk about before you jump into some of these questions here? Oh, I want to congratulate you on a great new commercial. The commercial with your stuffed frog is awesome. I don't know who wrote that one, but it's really good.
You like it?
That's awesome. Great. If you haven't seen it on TV, I saw it on the football games this weekend. So it's like, this is a stuffed animal. It's the frog stuffed animal that the McDivitts have. I got one in my office, by the way. Now it's probably worth some money on eBay. I should sell it now that it's
these things
famous. It's a famous frog. So it's like, this is a stuffed animal loved by all, but you know who hates it? The insurance companies. And it turns dark about how they.
Those frogs are everywhere. They're all over they're all over the country. I see them. People have them. It's cool. It's just unique. I'll tell you, we just have a lot of fun with it.
Yeah,
it's different.
It was very different because you see a lot of the same commercials when it comes to the legal stuff. And it definitely stands apart. So, and as a radio professional for a long time, I love a good read, a good copy, and you nailed it with that one.
Oh, you must speak of radio professionals. I told you I was in Florida last week. I was checking into the hotel. I stayed at a hotel that was just up the beach from Mar-a-Lago. And, Trump's been living in Mar-a-Lago, and he's got all these people coming in who might be potential cabinet picks. It was the center of the political universe last week, and it probably still is, but I was there for an unrelated reason. I'm checking into my hotel, and Chris Christie, the former governor of New Jersey, was at the little check-in counter next to me. And I talked to him, not about politics, not about New Jersey, but about radio. Because I don't know if you know, but Chris Christie does a radio segment on a sports talk radio.
What?
Yeah, there's a Sirius XM channel called Mad Dog with this guy Christopher Mad Dog Russo.
Russo, yeah, he's a very legendary.
He's on ESPN. He's on First Take, I think.
Sports broadcaster forever and ever and ever.
Forever. He's in the Hall of Fame, and periodically he has Chris Christie come on, and they just talk sports. And listen, I do radio once a month. I'm horrible at it, but I respect what people who do good radio have to do to make it good. Ross, you're good.
You do a great job. Don't undersell yourself.
Thanks, but I would like to do better. So I was trying to get some tips from Chris Christie on how to be better as a radio guest. So.
I didn't know he was a sports aficionado. Is the segment about where to get the best hot dog around the league?
They actually don't talk about that too much.
That's crazy. I had no idea.
Yeah.
Wow. So you met Chris Christie. You met, but as far as segment go, I'm more excited about you meeting Blue's granddaughter.
That was pretty cool.
That's much cooler.
Oh, I met Mike Tyson too. But anyway, that's a different story. That was a few years ago with my kids. Yeah.
Where at? You go to the nudie bar? Did you take your kids to the nudie bar and bump into Mike?
They are so tired of me taking them to that bar. So I don't do that anymore. No, we were at a place in California, and he was at the booth next to us with one of his children, and he got out of the booth, he crouched down, talked to my kids at eye level. He was so nice.
Wow, isn't that amazing?
Yeah, he was really cool.
Were you scared? Because I remember that one time he was talking about he wanted to eat babies. Are you scared he's going to chomp on your child?
I wish I had known that at the time. I didn't know that. I forgot.
Yeah, I forgot who he's fighting. He's like, I'm going to eat your babies. I'm going to break your face. I'm going to eat your babies. I was like, wow.
Listen, I actually had to take the kids to the bathroom. The only way to get to the bathroom was to go through Mike Tyson. So we had to do something.
Excuse me, sir. Excuse me. Oh, cool. All right, we're getting way off base now.
Yeah.
Let's focus and get to a couple of questions. I tried calling Ashley. Went through her voicemail because I got a couple of questions. I want to know what's the fugitive in her life up to.
Oh, yeah. What do they do?
All right, so Ashley's question.
We can get to this quickly.
Reads as follows. Hello. My question has a lot of moving parts. However, the main thing I want to know is if the co-signer of my car loan is now a fugitive, how do I get them off my car loan? So, again, don't know if it's a family member, if it's maybe a boyfriend or whatever, or husband that was on the car loan and now is a fugitive from the law. So what does she do? It's going to be hard to track down a fugitive if you need to sign something.
Yeah, that's right. So what I'm hoping for her sake is that he's a co-signer and not a co-owner. If he's not on the title, it will make it easier for her to try to get out from underneath his relation. I'm saying his. I don't know if that's fair. Did it say him?
They. Let's do the they thing. They, them.
The they. Okay. To get them off of the loan, maybe the easiest thing to do would just be to refinance the loan. And then Ashley would just be solely responsible. She can get another co-signer, I guess. She can sell the car. These are things that take a little bit of time. But if you don't have access to your co-signer
sell the car,
anymore,
pay off the loan, and then you can reassess the situation there, get another loan for another car or whatever.
Exactly.
All right,
exactly.
Interesting.
But the trick, though, if they are a co-owner, if they're actually on the title, then you're probably going to need them to be able to agree to sell the car. Like you can't just sell something out from underneath the other owner. But if they're just a co-signer, they're just on the loan, then their obligation extends only to making payments on that loan if she, Ashley, defaults on it.
Okay.
So the lender is okay if they get paid back in full.
They don't care. They just want their money.
They just want their money back.
But if you're messing with a title with a couple names on it, that's going to be
that's a big issue.
So I wish we'd gotten a hold of her. I want to know which side she's on. Is it going to be easy or the quagmire? It's probably going to be the quagmire. With me, it's always the most difficult route.
But here's the other thing, too. From a practical perspective, does she really need the fugitive off as a co-signer? As long as she's continuing to make the payments, the burden is on the co-signer. Like if she's making payments, she's got her own issue with just defaulting and what it does to her credit and all of those issues. But then the lender has to go after the fugitive to get payment. So I don't know that she has to get the fugitive off her loan for her life to continue as is.
It's going to be like a start of a cool movie. I'm starting to think,
Yeah, it could be the start of a really crappy movie.
Yeah.
It just depends on where you go with it. Are you a good screenwriter? But that's not the other thing I want to add is there may be some contractual language in the agreement that says if one or both parties is found to be guilty of a certain crime, maybe there's something triggering an event there. I have no idea, but just add an awareness of what's really in there. That's where I'm going with that. And I think you would make a great screenwriter.
Sometimes.
Yep.
My brain's good, sometimes good.
Sometimes.
The crazy thing about this story, there's a few different weird things to her question, but it's very rare you find, I assume, a felonious fugitive with good credit. Right? That
true.
Doesn't happen very often. It's like, man, you're a felon. You probably ruined your credit a long time ago. But man, he's a felon. All right, we don't know if he's a felon. He's a fugitive with great credit. That's rare. That's rare air right there, right?
Yeah, it is.
He's pulling an 825.
It's rare to find anybody with great credit these days, fugitive or not.
He's got a $100,000 bounty on his head, and he's rocking an 825 credit score.
Except on Bumble and Hinge and Tinder, where these women are posting their credit scores. I've seen it. Like so many women I see on the online dating world. Yeah, they say I've got perfect credit. I've got great credit.
Let me see the list of things I look for in an attractive mate. Credit score not in the top 100.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it, but I think that's the thing.
Are they homely? Like, is that they're
making up for lack of other things?
Yeah. They're like, well, hey, my nose is on the side of my face, but my credit score is above 800.
I don't know. I can't remember. I mean, I'm rarely online dating.
Is a credit score ever on your list of things you look for in a potential mate?
It wasn't.
Until now.
But you know what, though? I think it speaks to just general, you have your stuff together, I guess.
Right.
But there are a lot of reasons why people might have bad credit and they still have their stuff together. Just it's when, issues come up. So that to me is that's not a disqualifying thing I look for in somebody. They've got,
Interesting. Slippery slope, that credit thing, everyone, slippery slope.
Bad character, stay away from that. Bad credit, maybe okay.
I tried getting Nicole, too. It also went to voicemail, and I'm so afraid that she has nothing to do here.
Exactly. Well, you read this, because this is...
hello, don't know if you dabble in this, but what rights do grandparents actually have, she asks. My daughter's acting stupid because of her current boyfriend and keeping my grandkids from us. I didn't see this part.
Yeah, keep reading.
Hold on. Do I kick her ass because I'm her mom and I think I'm allowed to do that when she's out of line? Or do I take her to court? What time can we actually get? I don't want anything crazy out of the norm, but we went from having her almost all the time to nothing now, which is tough on the kid too, man. She get grandma and granddad time. Any advice would be greatly appreciated. I don't think kicking her ass is probably going to fix things. Even though you are her mom, and I think you have the right to kick her ass. Right? What's the old line? It's like, I brought you into this world, I can take you out.
Oh, God, that's horrible.
That's true, though, right? My parents used to tell me that all the time.
Oh, my God.
They own you. You never dropped that one on your kids?
No, I haven't.
You should, Dave. You should. That'll pipe the fear of God in them.
Yeah, I may try that.
Listen, I brought you into this world, and I can take you out. Legally speaking.
Legally. It's not a threat. It's just a comment on what's factual. Okay.
So grandparents don't have any rights, unfortunately, probably, right?
In a traditional context, they don't. I mean, if you've got a nuclear family where you've got a mother and a father or two parents who are still married or together, and there is no custody arrangement where there's no court involved in allocating parenting time between those two parents. The respective grandparents don't have any legal claim to parenting time with the grandkids. The law presumes that the parents are the ones who have the interests of the child at heart and are in the best position to determine what's in the best interest for the child. There is a triggering event, though, that can give rise to a grandparent's ability to go to court and get time with the kids. But it requires that there be some kind of a custody order with the court, essentially. And usually that's triggered in a, whether you were married and now divorced, or you were never married but you haven't agreed and you've gone to court then to allocate parenting time. Because some people are never married. They have a child together, they live apart, but they split time equally with the kids. They don't get any kind of a court order regarding parenting time or custody. But oftentimes one of those things exists, especially in a divorce situation. What I don't know, and I'd love if we could have gotten a hold of Nicole to find out, is was dad ever in the picture? Because if dad was never in the picture at all, like unknown, and so when child is born, there is no dad listed on the birth certificate. DHS never able to track him down. There's no custodial award entered for mom against dad. There's no child support order entered against dad. You may not have that triggered event yet, which would allow a grandparent to then go to court. But assuming you do, and so let's assume for a minute that Nicole's daughter has some kind of a custody arrangement with dad, and whether it sounds like boyfriend is not the dad. That's just, I'm trying to like parse the words here to get to that. But it sounds like boyfriend's not the dad. So dad's somewhere, there's a custody award, some custody order in place. So Nicole can go to court. She can petition the court, but then she's going to have, assuming the court's going to hear it, she'll have to prove and provide evidence saying why it's in the best interest of the child. And the court's going to defer to mom, not to Nicole. But that doesn't mean that it would just then ignore what Nicole is asking. It'll just give deference to what mom is saying, why she's not giving parenting time. Why she's not allowing grandma to see grandchild. But yes, all of this to say, grandparents have very limited legal rights.
So maybe just a conversation probably go a long way here.
I think so, because the other thing that could happen is if she said she's being we don't know what is she saying about her, but if daughter is like on, we're going somewhere deep with this, but like let's say she's incapacitated, she's on drugs, or she's been injured and she's mentally not capable of providing the right care for the child. There is a course where mom could petition for a conservatorship over daughter, not grandchild, to start over the daughter, so then she could kind of help manage her daughter's affairs, and that may lead to the ability to then kind of manage what's going on with the child too. But
and that's kind of a darker scenario.
Oh my gosh, right. Like the burden on that is so high.
I'm going to see your darkness, so high. I'm going to raise you darkness. Okay. You ready?
Bring it.
How about this? So is there anything Grandma Nicole can do? So she tracks down the kid's dad, and we assume he's no longer with. He's obviously no longer with her daughter. So she finds the kid's father and has the kid's father sign the rights over to her. Can she do that?
Like parenting rights?
Yeah. Talk to him. He's like, and he probably doesn't like her daughter anymore, right? They are broke up. So he's like, he's vindictive. She's angry. Get together. Get on the same team. Let's nuke this girl and take her kid.
Wow. I'm trying to think. Yeah, it's pretty dark, and I'm trying to figure out like any way where that could be feasible. I guess what you would start by saying, look, I'm going to team up with dad here, and so when dad has parenting time, he's going to let me see the kids on his parenting time.
Is that a workaround?
Yeah, it could be a workaround, but then daughter would get upset, and then she's going to take dad back to court. I mean, it could end up in court anyway, but that is one way to do it, and I have seen that where.
I think I should be a consultant for McDivitt Law. I can find these greasy little workarounds.
I love it. GreasyLaw.com. With special of counsel, Ross Ford.
Hello, my name is Ross Ford. I'm the counselor of Greece.
I love it. Lubricating the law of dark justice.
So the first thing, though, is just communication. A lot of these, we've had stories of across the span of this segment where a lot of it is just a quick conversation, dial things back a bit, say, hey, listen, I'm sorry. Let's get this together. This is important to me because, and you're important to me because, and just say I love you, man. We need more of that, baby. Yeah. All right. Well, Nicole, good luck there. Ashley, good luck with your endowed, creditly speaking, fugitive and your car. Again, that was a stunning thing. I was like, wow, fugitive with great credit. It's so rare.
That
Guy's dialed in for sure. Okay.
Moving on.
You're listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM. Presented by McDivitt Law Firm.
So let me get this straight here, and correct me if I'm wrong. So you got a speeding ticket in a school zone there near Doherty High School?
Yes.
What was the posted limit?
20 miles an hour.
20, yeah, that's a school zone. And then you were doing what? How fast?
37.
37. So, 17 over. Ooh, that's tough.
Right.
That's tough. Okay. So, your scenario, though, is interesting. You were claiming that span, that 20-mile-an-hour span that is considered a school zone, cannot be considered a school zone. Why?
Well, I have two arguments. One, I believe it was an arbitrary reason why the school zone was actually created in the first place, that it was a distracted driver and didn't have anything to do with speed. But the school zone happens to be like really close to TNT's Showgirls.
Okay, so it's a dancing girls club. For those who don't know, Dave, I'm sure you don't know. It's where girls get paid to take off their tops. All right, continue.
So it's not my house, right?
Can you actually have a strip club in a school zone?
So you're saying the fact that there's a strip club there negates the fact that that's a school zone, because there can't be a school zone if there's a dancing club right there. That's obscene, Mr. McDivitt. That's obscene. And a bit of a stretch, I'm thinking, huh?
Listen, I don't know, because I don't know the rules for like how close a TNT, like an adult strip club can be to a school. I don't know the rules on that. I mean, I know that the schools, there are policies and guidelines that dictate, the amount of like the distance that will dictate the school zone itself. And what you're saying then is that they should. I think your first argument was that they shouldn't be able to call it a school zone anyway because there was a distracted driving incident.
Yeah, well, for those who don't know what he's referring to, there was a horrible accident in which a student was killed in that stretch, and so they reposted this for whatever reason. It wasn't a school zone at the time, and I don't know exactly what caused the accident in the first place. But he seems to believe it wasn't speed related; it was a distracted driver. But they still, changed that to try to get people to slow down. So I think they put a stoplight also in that area, trying to slow things down a bit after this incident a couple of years ago, maybe just last year.
Yeah, so I don't think that's going to go anywhere. I mean, what you were talking about is it was too arbitrary for them to create that school zone where it is anyway. And then the other thing,
I believe that lowering the speed limit does not actually solve a problem of distracted driving. All I have to do is point to Tejon Street and just say, hey, we got a speed limit down to 30, but we still have a bunch of people getting run over down there.
All right. Well, that's a fundamental policy argument you'd make in the state legislature. I think.
Almost like it feels similar. We've had this before. Just because you're ignorant of the law doesn't mean it doesn't apply to you. We've had that before. Bill, I didn't know that was illegal. And so, there was a guy from Colorado Springs that is now banned from Yellowstone. I think it is because he parked on a kind of a very sacred ground. He's like, well, no one told me I couldn't park there. I was like, it's no excuse. Your ignorance is no excuse.
Ignorance of the law is no defense. However, what you're talking about is a factual issue, whether or not you were going 37 in a 30 mile per hour zone. I mean, that's just kind of a violation of that element of it. And so what you're going to is saying like it shouldn't be 30 at that point is really what you're trying to say. Like it should have gone back up to and you've lost me because I'm just busy trying to find out where TNT is. Because at some point I'm going to need to eat lunch.
Right.
How far do you think the dancing club is from the high school? If you were to guess, man.
Oh, I would guess 500 feet.
Wow.
Is it past Oro Blanco? Like, is it east of Oro Blanco?
Okay, so Doherty High School is on Barnes.
Barnes, yeah.
Right.
And if you're going up Austin Bluffs, on the opposite side, on the next street up to the north, you got TNT Showgirls right there.
Okay, so were you pulled over on Barnes or Austin Bluffs?
On Barnes Road. And the speed limit, I believe, was originally 50 or 40 miles an hour. I could be mistaken there, but it was originally 40.
30 to 40, something like that. All right, side note, too, how much is that ticket?
350, somewhere on there.
Woo! Well, you can work with the city attorney and see if they are intimidated enough by your argument to just drop the charge. You may have to get in front of a judge.
I feel like doing my southern lawyer thing. Your Honor, the fact of the matter is there's a dancing club right across the street, Your Honor. There's no way that this road is a school zone with a naked lady dancing across the street. Case closed.
Well, Matlock or...
I don't know what that was.
Not Matlock. I mean, who's the other one? Mason.
Crazy southern lawyer.
I know. Yeah, it is. But so does Austin Bluffs have a school zone, designated school zone?
No.
Okay, so Barnes. So you're on Barnes. The school zone's on Barnes. The school zone is not on Austin Bluffs, and TNT is on Austin Bluffs.
Yes.
So.
I think he just lawyered you, dude.
Well, I'm just trying to say is that your argument that they have TNT is not in front of a school zone, correct?
Yeah,
that's true. But why is it that the school zone is so small for that particular school? And the reason is because TNT's is up there. So the reason, when it comes down to safety for kids crossing the street, you would actually draw a giant circle around the school, right? And actually say, hey, here's our busy streets. This is the front of the school. So why wouldn't they actually extend it for safety reasons? And it's because there's a TNT Showgirls there. Well,
but
that shouldn't even matter when it comes down to safety of the kids. So my argument is that this entire thing was created for extortion, an extortion racket. It's like, well, this is just another way for the city to get more money out of
it. Stick it to the man.
But at the same time, you're arguing that they should expand the school zone, it sounds like.
Well, my argument is, why didn't they expand it? And then I can also say, why didn't they actually set these school zones, way before? Why was it only just now?
Thank you for listening to the Law Frog Radio Show with David McDivitt and Ross Ford on Kilo 94.3 FM, presented by McDivitt Law Firm.